Hey, what's going on? Welcome along to episode 58. I'm Jamie Michael Joseph, and as always, I am joined by Mark Tanner.
Hello there, everyone.
So, look, this is the Strategy and Conversions podcast. We always talk about a topic from business, marketing, personal development, something that's going on where we give our view and look at a way to basically, a way how you can use it to your advantage, make the most of it and stuff like that. And Mark, we were talking beforehand, as we always do before we record the podcast. We're talking about kind of business, we're talking about different things, and we're talking about copywriting. And I said to you, have you seen the whole thing with this ChatGPT? I'm saying, I had to say it slowly, otherwise I kind of mess it all up. And, like you were saying there is, you're aware of different AI tools and stuff like that. This one's came around, relatively quickly. It's been around for a while, but all of a sudden this week, all the kind of gurus and anywhere you look on socials, everyone's talking about this tool, and it's just like, you have the people talking about it in a way which you can make money. There are people saying you can use this within your marketing and you can use it in different ways. And I thought it'd be really good to kind of, get into this and just be like, look, does it make sense to use ChatGPT in your marketing and even for ways to make money, in this podcast, because it is so fresh, people are jumping on it. And I thought we could run through the good, the bad and the ugly.
Yeah, why not? That sounds good.
Yeah. So let's break it down a little bit by taking it back. We've spoke about this on podcast episodes before, where we say, look, there are certain AI tools out there for copywriting, and obviously, mate, you've had the copywriting company and stuff like that, and you pride yourself on writing good copy for people and stuff like that. And we spoke about these tools, and like you were saying, there's no emotion in them. You have to put a good kind of good levels around it, where you have to set parameters and stuff like that for them to be able to write certain things. And anyone who has used any one of these tools would know it's a bit hit and miss. Sometimes you get good copy, sometimes you don't.
Yeah, that's right. So I mean, it's interesting that I've seen the output from a lot of these tools, and unfortunately, it is very, some of it is very accurate, grammatically correct, and everything. Some of it isn't so, but there are actual copywriters out there who write very, very factual, grammatically correct information, but it's not uplifting. It doesn't kind of elicit any kind of real emotional response. And these AI tools that I've seen in the past have been exactly that. They'll tell you exactly how something works or the benefits of having something. They'll give you the pros and cons, but it's all very it's just all very matter of fact. It's like reading a witch magazine back in the day. When witch magazines just come out, and people would go through, should I buy this, should I buy that? And witch magazines were very good at laying out the facts, but they were incredibly boring to read. And that's what the output I've seen of all the AI tools up to date have been. But this sounds like this is stunning, slightly different.
Yeah, so we were talking about this beforehand, and I said, look, I've used it over the past, I reckon, 2 weeks now. And I've not used it, that much. But I've used it, and I've watched different people who I rate with their videos and stuff like that, talking about it and stuff like that. And like I said, every kind of guru is out now talking about it as well. So it makes sense to explore it, and have a look through it. So obviously with me, I loaded it up. I went through all the kind of, logins and stuff like that, same as anybody else. So anyone can use it. It's free to use. I think you go to OpenAI, and then they have their tool there called ChatGPT. And they have a few different tools as well. And they have a few tools for developers and stuff like that. And what was really cool, I think, from looking at some of the background on this tool, is what it was kind of looking at was, if you take someone who's like a coder, someone who builds like websites and stuff like that, they've got a piece of code and it's not working. What they would do is feed this code in and say, this isn't working. Can you make it work? And basically, as like a chatbot, it's like you're having a conversation with someone. So it's not a case of where you have the normal AI kind of tools. You would say, write a blog on this, and tell it all the different kind of stuff, and it will create that. And it does do this, we'll get onto that in just a bit. But where this really works is like a chatbot, is if you're having a conversation with someone. So you would say, look, this code isn't working. Can you make it work? And they would come back and they say, look, is it the whole code or is it part of the code? And you would say, okay, it's this
Okay,
part here. And they would say, okay, well, look, if you change this part to that part, it should work. So like really sophisticated, right?
yeah, yeah,
And we are really early in that journey. So it's only going to get better,
yeah,
right? So that stuff is really cool. But where you have it, and I think what really brought it to my attention is I think I was on Facebook or something like that. And I saw a post from someone, you know, and it talked about will AI basically take away jobs and stuff like that in marketing. And I was reading this sort of post, this article, and it wasn't until I got towards the bottom that it just said this post has been written by OpenAI chat.
oh
Yeah, and I
yeah,
was like, wow, okay, this actually flowed really well.
yeah,
So I started like reading a bit more just about this and stuff like that. I started using it. Now, what I kind of looked at with it is I was just like, okay, look, we've got this tool here. People are talking now about content. So
mm,
you can use this tool to get content, right? So
yeah,
that's where
okay,
it really kind of looked at it from my side because I'm like, okay, look, content is one of those where look, every business needs some form of content,
hmm,
right? There are situations where quantity can outwork quality, you know,
yeah,
but
yeah,
usually
yeah,
it's the case of quality being better than quantity, right? So
yeah,
I thought, let's test this and let's just see really where it does work and where it doesn't. And what I did with it is I was looking at it where I just thought, okay, look, if I wanted to create a website today and I need some content for it, can this chatbot, can this tool, you know, really do it? So we spoke about it before, mate. I love a good conspiracy, you
yeah,
know, and stuff like that. So I was like, right, okay, if I want to create a site that just talked about conspiracy theories and stuff like that, let's look at it. So I looked at it thinking, okay, let's take things like Bigfoot, let's take things like the Loch Ness monster, let's get into stuff as well then along the lines of like who shot JFK, right? And really get into some deeper kind of conspiracies rather than the kind of stuff just on the surface.
yeah,
And I just thought if I just write questions like, okay, what is Bigfoot? You know, so what happens then is it comes back with a paragraph. And what basically how this tool works is it goes off and it kind of it's kind of scrolled all different kind of websites and stuff like that. And it's got information, but it's just done so quickly that it's just given it to me within seconds.
wow, okay,
And it's just okay. Look, Bigfoot is a mythical creature. You know, is these are the stories behind it. You know, all this kind of stuff. And then you know, you basically have a conversation with it. So the next
mm,
question is, okay, well, what are some of the conspiracies? And it will say, okay, it started off with this part here. You know, there have been these kind of things, and then it'd be like, is there any evidence? There's been no evidence really. Everything that's been tested doesn't show anything. So all of a sudden, I've got like a 5 to 1,000 word blog on this stuff,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it's good, right? It's
yeah,
good because it's information. But like what we were talking about before we started recording this podcast is like in that situation is really good because it's just factual stuff, you know. So
yeah,
if anyone wants to then go to my conspiracy site, which I don't have yet, but I might build one just for this,
yeah,
right? You know,
yeah,
if someone wants to go there, well, look, they can get that information. It's basic information. You know,
mm,
there's nothing kind of extra there. You know, it's basic information. It's good and it's good enough. But where I think the dangers are is that people are going to start using this now to build content for their marketing and stuff like that as well. And you know, is it just a case of we're going to get information overload or content overload in marketing now? I mean, we're already there anyway, aren't we? With you know, going onto socials and stuff like that, sales
yeah.
messages, all this kind of stuff. Are we going to get overloaded now with fake content?
Well, yeah, it's a possibility, isn't it? And I know we were talking. One of the things we talked about as well was about the whole plagiarism thing as well.
Mm.
About the fact that at the moment, because it's quite new, it's the content it's putting out is very very low on plagiarism score. But as more people use it, could it become could it become more plagiaristic? I don't know. But just talking about the thing that you're saying there, um, it's interesting that you read that blog and then at the bottom it said this blog has been created because we were talking earlier that was about how do we know that there's someone behind this who really knows what they're talking about, or whether it's just someone who's compiled it through asking decent questions, but asking questions. I think that's what it comes down to, by the sound of it, is how good a question you ask. Because the AI tools that are around, well, obviously this one's around now as well, but the AI tools that are around at the moment was give me a blog about whatever. And it came back with a blog quite factual about whatever. And like you say, this tool does the same. But where this tool goes a step further, you can then have that conversation as if you're in the same room. And then he'll give you the answer. So if your questions are really deep and really good and really well thought out, then you're going to get some very great insights on that information, and you're not going to know who's written it.
Yeah, that's the massive danger, isn't it?
Yeah.
Look, I feel like we have that danger anyway. How many times have we spoke about this on the podcast where we said, look, you go on to LinkedIn or something like that, and someone's telling you that they're a social media expert.
Oh, yeah.
What kind of expertise do they really have other than maybe they just post what you give them on socials, right? You have that kind of thing where you don't know from one person to the next.
Yes,
you can do it, right? And how many times have we spoke about kind of levels of sophistication, stuff that, a perfect example, right? I saw a post from an accountant about a week ago, and they just said, look, we're getting messages from people asking us to quickly look over their tax returns, here in the UK, quickly look over their tax returns, or, could I book an hour with you where you can tell me, what's wrong with this and educate me? Could I book some time where I can do some training with you on doing this? And he just said, look, if it was that easy, we wouldn't spend 6 years to get qualified, And it's like that there is the exact thing.
Yeah, you're right.
Is that, look, and again, look, you take accountants, there are obviously levels of sophistications with accountants, right? Yeah. So you would get, maybe an accountant can help you with your tax return. Well, what about someone then that we want to move around, this kind of relief from tax into this bracket, and we've only got 3 years to do that before it expires and stuff. That, like, there's going to be different levels to that within business and stuff like that as well. And it's the exact same thing, like with marketing. Is like, right, okay, like, how do we structure out what it is we really want to do? How do we get it? It's different than just coming up with stuff, So that stuff there is that the levels of sophistication, like where does it end? So with the whole kind of chatbot, is that if I go to it and I put in, and I saw a video on this. This is what someone used it for, right? They created a YouTube script, and it was for the 10 small dog breeds to own. Right? Okay. So maybe I've worded that wrong, but you get the gist, right?
Yeah.
It's that there. And what it did is it gave it 10 small dog breeds, for people to own. And then it started asking, basically the person asked them questions. Can you expand on this dog? Can you expand on that dog and everything like that, right? This person's got a really good script. They've gone off and recorded a YouTube video. They now have a video that is, being used, that they can make money off of that in different ways. But they've got this video, they've got this script. It's awesome, right? They've got a script. But nothing's to say that they are the best.
No.
10, it's just gave them 10.
Just giving them 10. Yeah. Okay.
So it's just random that there's 10. There's no order, or anything like that. There's not saying that these are the best 10. They could be missing ones. And that's the issue, I feel.
Yeah.
And you don't know who the person is behind it.
Yeah. And I guess it's questions. There's questions around in dog ownership. No, I know you get the basic questions like, is it good with kids and is it friendly with other dogs? But you can get questions. What about grooming, and is it difficult? What about vet bills? And those are questions that you're not going to know to ask, but an expert will be able to tell you. One of the things that comes to mind there when you were talking about coaching is that, and we've done this. We've been on places before where someone's come to you with a problem of their coaching. We talk about the problem. And we talk about what they think, but that isn't their problem. And it's until you question it further, you think, hang on a minute. You go either a step backwards, you go off on a tangent. Isn't this really what you're trying to do? And they'll look at you and they'll say, yeah, actually it is. And that's where a bot wouldn't, well, they may build a bot one day that could do that. But it's that kind of, someone comes to you with a problem and you can answer it. Of course, you can like bots or us, we can answer it. We can go in deeper to it, and let's face it, the internet is the biggest library in the world, so I'm sure a bot can go deeper into it as well. But what the bot can't see is what leads on from that? So they're trying to do this, or they think that's what the issue is, but what's the underlying issue that they have not even acknowledged it because they don't even know they've got it? And that's where the good experts, it's like with a dog breeder, or what are you really looking for, and getting underneath their skin, if you like. But with a coach, is what do you? So hang on a minute, what are you really trying to achieve? And all of a sudden, we go off on a different. And we've done this. We've been doing these when we've done some coaching together with people. When we go through the deep dive, you go into that. You suddenly realise that that their thinking is on the wrong lines. Their thinking is on the wrong plane almost. You pull them back and say, yeah, that's the missing piece I've been looking for. Now, whether Chat GPT is going to be good enough to find that kind of thing, I don't know. I mean, if it does, it really would be an awesome product.
Yeah.
If it can kind of join the dot. That's why I'm getting at, I suppose, is joining the dots. It is if it can join the dots with, say, someone who wants a dog, and they want a dog because they want this, but what's all the dots and what's all the things in between? They want a small breed. Why do they want a small breed? And those kind of questions. If that could come up with answers for that, and when it comes to copywriting, this is the thing about me and the copywriting is I really try to elicit as much information as I can in the copy, and I think that without bragging, I think that's what makes me stand out by in way of as many against many others. But if a bot can do that, then I better look for another job.
Do you know what? I think this is something where we did that episode a good kind of year ago or so, where we looked at predictions for 2022. And I said about the AI stuff, and I talked about people who would run YouTube ads for you or Facebook ads and stuff like that. They will be out of a job soon because the AI that's coming in can just do this for you. And I talked about potentially marketing agencies being done out of a job because the tools coming out are so good that people can start doing things themselves. So there isn't a need for them, but there would be a need higher up to actually take it to the next level and stuff like that. So I think what we're actually seeing is we're seeing this evolve now, where if right now we're on, say, version 20, well, it was on version 3 a few months ago. Like that's how quick it's kind of moved. So will it move that quickly moving forward? It probably will, right? But does it ever get to that stage? I'm not too sure. And I think what my kind of thinking is behind that is, if you're creating content for entertainment, right, it's absolutely fine.
I get that.
But if you're creating content in your marketing where you want to start getting people to come to you to spend money with you because maybe you're a coach or something like that, I think for the consumer, it's going to get very difficult because you won't know if that person is the actual expert. So you could go to this tool, you can ask it a load of questions and stuff like that. You can get all these kind of answers that sound really good. You put that up on a sales page or some blog posts or some social posts. The person comes to you, to do a job for them. You don't really know where to start. So you're then, you're doing whatever. You're maybe not at that level. So I think there's that part to it there. And also, mate, from what you said there, I think that hits the nail on the head. Like, I love that bit, is that you only get the right answers from asking the right questions.
And it is.
I think that those things that, like you said, different kind of coaching, advising, consulting, whatever it is that we've done with people before. I'm just thinking off the top of my head, like certain examples, and I could think of a company where we probably stopped them from making a mistake that was worth $250,000. Where they're looking at going into a market to target a certain audience, and they see it is because there's so many people in that sector, they only need so much and they can earn decent money. But when we actually look at the business and we look at what they already have in place and we look at their staff and their skill set and connections and all that kind of stuff, we say, well, look, if you go after these ones, you're going to get results a lot quicker and you're going to be able to expand a lot quicker as well. And it's like they moved into that area where you go, well, if they weren't dealing with someone who would question it and look at the data, and they would just say, yeah, okay, that's great, we're going to go after these people that you want, would it have worked? Who knows? Who knows? But it was a risk that wasn't needed because they already had the stuff lined up that they could just take advantage of for less cost and get a more reward back quickly. And I think, absolutely right. And I
I would say that that's where a real expert consultant, whatever discipline it is, whether it's coaching, consultancy, or advice, accountancy again is that one. Going back to accounts, yeah, there's hundreds of accountants, millions of accountants that can give you this. But when you say, well, I want to make my tax regimen more efficient, then there's not going to. Then all of a sudden you drop. There's accountants are dropping by the wayside because they haven't got that knowledge. But you might find the accountant says, yeah, but if that's what you want, but actually if you did this and you did this and you did this, it would be even better. And they suddenly go, whoa, yeah, okay, that's what I want. And the original kind of thinking that they were on was not the thinking they ended on. And I think that's where I'd probably eat my words if I say this, but I would at the moment defy any bot to be programmed that well or to learn that well to be able to not deflect, but to take someone from a route they're on already, of the level of thinking they are. And I'm not saying they can't deepen that level of thinking. I'm sure they can, because there's so many books and there's so many stuff written on the internet they control and find out. But it's to change that direction, to make it something. Hang on a minute, have you thought about this? Bang. And that's the secret, I think, to a lot of, when you see good teams working together, when you see good consultants working together, and even just a single coach and the business owner, they get their heads together and they suddenly think, I'm not sure if I'm barking at the right tree. Let's have a look at this again.
Hey, 100%. Looking at some of the information around this and watching different videos, different people, and I can't be sure of the exact statements if they're true and stuff like that. But some of the stuff I was looking at is like, okay, look, it is an AI learning tool, so it's learning all the time from what people are putting in and stuff like that, and you can actually click buttons to say this answer was really good or this answer wasn't because X, Y, Z.
Okay,
but what was really interesting is in one piece it said that the latest update to it or something like that, right, is something like 18 months or 2 years ago. So the information that is actually pulling is older, right? So it's not like we're looking at it today. So if there was something in the news over the past month, or maybe a big change in a sector over the past 6 months, would it be pulling that in?
Will it be pulling it? Yeah.
So, you could be giving people false information there because it isn't, the right kind of tax rule or something else. Then that would be that. So I think that's quite interesting to look at it that way. And no one knows really where is gaining that information from.
No.
So does it give preference to certain sites? Does it give preference because in certain chats before, no one has flagged that as a bad answer? So even to a certain extent, is it giving the best answer? And going into the conspiracy stuff when I was creating some blogs and stuff like that, is I would ask it certain questions which are maybe a bit more obscured kind of facts in or conspiracies within a conspiracy, and it wasn't able to give me some of that information. And it's like, okay, is that just in books? Is that just someone's opinion? Stuff like that. So does it not have access to this? And, I think there's stuff there where it's quite interesting. So I think really to kind of go back on it and just kind of go kind of bigger picture here is that I think with this tool, with it getting so much hype and stuff like that, I think that doing this episode, made sense to kind of look into it. I think, is it a good tool to play around with, to get ideas, to look at, what would work? Could you start off with a base of a blog, and a page for that and get into it? I think you really.
Definitely. By the sound of it, definitely, because if it's a questioning, if it's a tool that then interacts with you, I think it takes it would take a lot of donkey work out of stuff, and that's half of the issue, I guess. And then you put if you're good enough, then you put the kind of the nuances on. But an interesting exercise would be to have 3 people in the room asking the same questions to see whether they get exactly the same information or whether it's slightly different. Maybe you'd have one person asking the question 1 month, and then another person the same question a month on and a month on to see if the information's the same or they come back with different answers. Because again, if you've got somebody asking similar questions and they said, and everyone decides to use this bot and it comes back with the same answers, well, you're into plagiarism issues. There's no doubt about it. You're going to get the same old stuff coming out because that's what the bot's finding. And, and it's doing its job really, really well, banging the stuff out. But you've got to then make sure that you don't just put the output onto your website or blog or whatever, and you actually manipulate it around. But I would say it's a good place to start. Definitely, it sounds to me like it's and it's only going to learn the more it's used by people and the more people question it. And so the whole thing, if you're not scared of AI, as I know some people are, but if you're not scared of AI, then use it, because if it's free, use it as a tool because it'll learn then, and it could become even better for you. From a point of view of blog writing and copywriting, there's an awful lot of copywriting that is 70% is just perspiration of getting words on a page, and then and they have maybe 30. The 30% is the tweaking of it and getting it right and making it look really, really good. Well, this thing could supply the 70% bang, within seconds, as opposed to somebody typing it all out or copy and pasting them from previous stuff they've done. So I think it's definitely a great basis to start with from just from a copywriting point of view. Yeah, I guess it could be a good basis from which you then have a baseline to make better. But I think you've got to treat it just as it's going to come out with a baseline, and that you've then got to weave your magic as a copywriter onto that baseline and come out with something that's really exceptional.
I was just thinking then, as you were talking, what kind of hit me is, okay, I think the level that we're at the moment is, if you were to go to Fiverr and you were to ask someone to create some blogs, this is probably the same standard as you would get back. It as just like an average person, an average kind of gig on Fiverr, is really low ticket, probably from, someone like India or something like that. You would get these blog posts and they would be okay in where they would have some information in there, but you would have to edit those, you would have to build around it and stuff like that to make it to make it make sense. And I think that's where we're at with this, is I think it's probably like on par, maybe even better, where it can give you the information, but you're still going to need to put your input into it. And like you said, from you being a copywriter and, from myself, in marketing, is that whenever we would get any kind of, job, we would work with anyone or anything like that, the first thing that we would do is to ask a series of questions, and we ask those questions in a certain way as well. It starts building up to a certain outcome, and we really get down to what the person is trying to achieve. Where this isn't going to be able to do that kind of stuff, or if you're creating content, like flipping it around, if you're listening to this now and you go in, but I think this can just really create a bunch of content for me quickly to get out there. It will do, but it will just be generic content. It would just be stuff that goes out there rather than it being, on top of that. So I think what comes to mind here is that whole thing of, the journey of 1,000 steps starts with the first step, but you have to make sure you're going in the right way. So if you're using, this kind of tool, you have to be asking it the right questions to build up something that you want. So when it's giving you questions, maybe giving you answers, you're taking those out, you're putting those into a Word doc, you're filtering out certain parts. Maybe you're asking it to write it again, you're asking it for more information, and you're building up your own blog on that and stuff like that. And I think that is where it is beneficial. And even just to bounce ideas, I was thinking, as you were talking as well, could there be an element to this to use for like journaling? As if it's like to give someone a bounce back on and stuff like that. So you're just like, I'm feeling this way, because this happened. I haven't used it for this, but I'm just thinking, look, will it come back with a way of, helping you think better? Maybe, I don't know. It could be quite interesting to do that. I think from, like I said, from an entertainment point of view, right? I think if you're creating YouTube scripts and stuff like that, if you're creating maybe blog posts which are just kind of facts, like I talked about with kind of Bigfoot and stuff like that, I think these will do the job. And if you're just using those as a way to say to people, look, we have some blogs over here, come and read them, and maybe you're getting paid for ad revenue on the site, or maybe you're using affiliate links to go off to buy something else related to it, I think you could definitely use that.
It does sound like it. Yeah. And I think it's interesting that just going back to what you were saying earlier on about questions is that a lot of the reason I took 4 years to qualify. Yeah, I went through coaching. I qualified. It took me 4 years to qualify, and you hear about just about people who go on a seminar for an afternoon seminar and they come out, I'm a coach, and you think no, but you're not. And the reason that sets somebody apart, um, again, sounding like I'm blowing my own trumpet, but the reason that sets me apart as a coach with others is that it's the level and the technique of questioning, and the questions that we answer lead on deliberately onto different questions, and then to find out and to dig deeper. And a lot of people don't. Yeah, a lot of yeah. I know that people said in the past that coaching is just like talking to a mate, but it's not, because the mate doesn't have the same kind of questioning technique as we've learned, And I think it's the same, like you, but that message you talked about the accountants back at the beginning, is that that's why they qualify. That's why they took them 5, 7 years to qualify as accountants, because they will they're 3 or 4 steps ahead of your question. So you come out with I want to do this, and they're already like, right, okay, well, let's actually take it down this level and get you better. And because they're really qualified at what they do and they really know what they do, then they're all, as I say, it's like playing chess. They're way ahead of you, and that's the same as when you're coaching. Somebody comes up and says, I want to do this, and straight away my brain's racing to say, right, but have you thought about this, and have you why, what's the purpose? And it's all that kind of questioning down and peeling like layers of an onion, isn't it? You're peeling back the layers of an onion to actually get down to the bottom and say, right, this is really what you're talking about. This is what it seems to me. And I know I just probably repeated what I said earlier on, but it's just that it is about, if someone's going to use this and they don't, and they can't use it to real questioning levels of sophistication, they will get out something reasonably, maybe fairly good, but quite generic. It's got to be down to the question.
Like, totally from what you were saying there, the way I kind of looked at that is I'm like, yeah, okay. You imagine you get someone who, they're a coach with no experience, like that kind of thing, right? And whether that's life coach, business coach, whatever it is. Now, just imagine they're talking with someone, and the person says, I want to make more sales, right? And they just go, okay, great. Why is that? Well, I want more money. Okay, why is that? To spend more time with my family or something like that. That then they anchor and they go, right, okay, how are we going to do that? And all this kind of stuff. And they go off in one direction, right? And I think this is like what you're saying with this kind of chatbot at the moment is, it's only as good as those kind of things you're putting in to get to that. Whereas, for yourself, and we would, we would look at that kind of thing and go, right, okay, I want to make more sales. It's like, okay, but more sales of what, for what?
Yes.
Why are you not making sales at the moment?
Yes.
And all this kind of stuff. And we would break it down, and maybe we'll get to a point where, they're not happy selling what they're selling or doing what they're doing. So there's no point in trying to expand it and make more sales because we want to go after something different, and it's that kind of thing there that I feel like this is going to be the issue over the coming months, is I think so many people are going to use these kind of chatbots. They're going to get this content, they're going to put stuff out, and it's going to be like false information. I think it's going to take a while before places like Google and stuff like that bring this into their algorithms and kind of look out for stuff. And there will be that kind of plagiarism thing, because I think there will be so much content, duplicated around where they go, okay, this has been wrote by some sort of AI tool, so we're going to kind of degrade this and stuff like that. And for anyone kind of going, yeah, it's not going to do that. History has proved that it does do stuff like this, different kind of updates in different ways, even going back to that kind of medic update, and it's like, having, if you're, say, a plumber, a heating engineer or something like that, and you've actually got the right kind of registration and you're showing that on your website, that you're going to get more weight than someone who isn't. The other person could have 40 years worth of experience, but they've started a brand new site today. It doesn't show the same weight in Google's eyes as someone who's been qualified for 5 years with that badge on that shows that they have been, Is that stuff there. But, where it does pique my interest, I think we've been through that kind of bad side. I think that's going to be the bad side. And I think anyone looking at using this, they're not going to listen to that. So they're going to go full steam into it and use it anyway. And I think where I would say it makes perfect sense is that entertainment route. So if you can start creating, top 10 jokes,
Yeah, well, yeah,
top 10
yeah,
dad jokes, right? And stuff like that. And then you create YouTube videos around this and social videos around this. Yeah, look, you don't need to come up with the jokes. It's going to
yeah.
give you jokes.
Brilliant. Yeah, I think I just one of the things I do in spare time is I do quizzes. I create quizzes, and that'd be ideal for this is why ideal for quizzes, rather than me going and answering questions and trawling through, trawling through Google. I'll just ask, give
Yeah.
me, what happened here, and tell me about this, and come out with some great little questions. So I think I'll use that for quizzes. That'd be really useful.
And that's it. And do you know what? I think for personal stuff, for passion projects, for entertainment stuff, I think it could be really good. I think people should definitely use it. I think using it to leverage kind of things that, I mean, we spoke about this on the last podcast episode, and we're talking about making money online and stuff like that. And I said, look, let's start some clubs. And from like last week, yeah, look, that's what we've done. We kind of put it in place. This is how we were actually talking about the kind of copy and content, because we're creating a page and stuff. And
Yeah, yeah,
we're talking about these kind of tools and stuff like that, how they have come about and stuff. And so look, we created the Cash Creation Club. We've got 4 clubs there. Where looking at affiliate marketing, membership sites, digital products, and info sites. We put it all together, on like a special offer to join all 4 clubs. So we'll put a link below for joining that. But I think there will probably be elements in here where we look at using the likes of ChatGPT. I keep messing this
GPT.
up. Like, they should make it a lot easier than that.
Yeah.
It's just called Chat AI.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
but we'll probably look at stuff like this. So if you're using like affiliate marketing and you want to create a YouTube video, to promote maybe like the
yeah,
top 10 tools to use in marketing,
yeah,
and you already have your tools there, and you say, look, I want to, what is Canva? Canva's a tool for creating digital products and all this kind of thing. You could create a video script quite easily. You could be talking over then little slides, one showing Canva, one showing Active Campaign, one showing, Kajabi or something like that.
yeah, yeah,
Things, linking to all of them through an affiliate link, and start getting
yeah,
paid from it, relatively easy. So I think
yeah.
there'll be stuff like that we definitely use, and or recommend to people to check out. But yeah, I think, mate, summing up this episode, I think, look, you have to try it out and stuff like that if you want to use it. But I think from, like we said, look, it isn't going to take away at the minute that kind of person, who
No,
can go, okay, look, this is what you're trying to achieve. This is the best way to articulate that.
no, I agree with you, but it's a no-brainer. If it's free, then why not try it out? Why not try? Because it's like anything, isn't it? You don't know until you try it, and if you try, you might find that it fits. It fits a piece of the jigsaw for to do this kind of this. You might have lots of things you go, I want to get this done, I want to get that done. Using this might actually say, oh, great, that cracks that's done, and then you can concentrate on the other bit. So definitely don't ignore it, because I think that's the worst thing you can do, because stuff is changing and improving so quickly now with AI and that kind of thing, is that you have to keep up with it. And if it's free, and then give it a go. And if you make your own opinion, it's like people who slag off books and things like, the snobbery of literature and that kind of thing. You say, well, have you actually read the book? Oh no. Well, that kind of thing. You say, well, it's that kind of thing. If you've never used it, you're never going to know. So keep yourself informed. That's the whole part of this growth, developing yourself as a business owner, isn't it? Is that you've got to keep yourself informed. And if it's going to take you 30 minutes, maybe an hour to download it, check it out, and see how it works, well, that's an hour well spent in my book, because you're developing your knowledge of the products that are out there.
Yeah, man, and like I said, just using it as well for different ideas. I think if you're one of these people who kind of sit there going, what can I post on social media?
Yeah,
You can start
yeah,
looking at different ideas from this. Give me top, the top 5 tips in this industry. All of a sudden it gives you some tips. I do know what that number 3 there, that looks really good. I can write a post on.
yeah,
and potentially you can just get it to write the post for you. Right?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it is just that thing that, yeah, it's all there for you. And I mean, like this stuff here, like this is one tool. There are so many tools out there you could take advantage of right now. Like going back to that Cash Creation Club, look, we're talking about writing a video script through using this. Well, what about actually creating a video? Well, look, there are tools out there where you can just kind of put your script in, and it will
Yeah,
create a video for you. It's like,
yeah, yeah.
these tools are out there. We'll be running through all of those, but yeah, I think for this episode, I think we'll bring it to a close. Is there
Yeah.
anything you want to add or to summarize?
I think I think in a summary, what I would say is, by all means, use these things. Don't think they're going to be the total answer to everything,
Mm,
but really use them, but be careful in how you use them, and just be wise about the outcome, and think, well, there's probably extra bits that are needed. But yeah, I mean, I think it's just as I said before, they're there, they're free to expand your knowledge. So yeah, give it a go.
yeah, 100%. Cool. We shall end that there, and we shall
Yeah,
catch you
okay.
next time. Mark, it's always been a pleasure.
Yeah, indeed it has. Yeah. Cheers,
That's
then,
yeah.
Jamie. Okay. Bye, everyone.